Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, I'm Jill Valley.
And I'm Dennis Bragg. Two U.S. Postal Service contractors have been arrested for felony possession of methamphetamine with intent to distribute the drug.
A Lake County Sheriff's deputy made the arrest after an investigation over the last few days that was assisted by the U.S. Marshal's Office and the U.S. Postal Inspector. A search warrant for the package was executed after it was delivered to an address that was not on that package. During the search, half a pound of meth was discovered along with 10 firearms and $1,000 in cash. 62-year-old Anthony Francia and 47-year-old Mary Francia were arrested. They were booked and released from the Lake County Jail. Lake County Sheriff Don Bell tells us how they were able to track the package to the suspects.
One of my drug task force deputies was given a tip to check on this. We started checking with the assistant of the U.S. Postal Inspector. We checked the package, and so we just tracked the package.
A court case is pending. Sheriff Bell notes that other recent narcotics investigations conducted in conjunction with the Kalispell and Missoula area drug task forces have resulted in the seizure of additional half a pound of meth and 10 pounds of marijuana, all of which was being trafficked from out of this area. Authorities released the name of the woman who died in a Thursday afternoon crash in Flathead County. Flathead County Sheriff Chuck Curry says 82-year-old Doris Field of Whitefish died as a result of injuries sustained in this two-vehicle crash on Montana Highway 40 between Columbia Falls and Whitefish. It happened near the intersection of Dillon Road when the vehicle Field was driving crossed the center line and was struck by a westbound dump truck. The Montana Highway Patrol is continuing to investigate. Turning now to weather, expect more steady snowfall in the mountains with a wintry mix in the valleys. For the latest on what we're going to expect for this weekend, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Erin Yost and her first forecast.
Yeah, things are going to stay pretty active here, at least the first half of this upcoming weekend. As you take a look in Hamilton from earlier today, this is sort of what we're going to expect tomorrow. This, of course, our First Security Bank ICAM. The radar still a little active. We've got this newly developed northwesterly flow, and although the main piece of energy from our last bigger system has now moved out, we're going to continue with these little pulses here and there. We could get some accumulation in the West Glacier region overnight tonight, and that has prompted a winter weather advisory to be issued by the National Weather Service through 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. We've got the extended forecast coming up shortly.
The family suing the Frenchtown School District over sexual misconduct allegations against current music teacher Troy Basher is going to be getting some high-profile assistance. John Clune and Lauren Groth of the Denver law firm Hutchinson, Black & Cook are going to be joining the case against the Frenchtown School District and Superintendent Randy Klein. Clune has been involved with multiple high-profile lawsuits against schools like Baylor University, Florida State, and the University of Oregon. He's currently working on a case against former San Francisco 49er Jared Hayne. The civil lawsuit against Frenchtown School District and Klein charges the two with violating Title IX rights of a student. That student, identified as Jane Doe in the papers, states that the two parties allowed current teacher Basher to work at the school despite accusations of sexual misconduct with students dating back to 2014. Basher, who according to Doe was 16 at the time, inappropriately fondled her and made an attempt to kiss her. Basher is not a defendant in the civil case and will be charged in Missoula County. He's facing criminal charges. An aggressive flu outbreak shut down an entire North Idaho school district this week.
So now crews have to disinfect all 4 schools in the district, including the buses, before class resumes next week. Ariana Lake reports from Kellogg, Idaho.
The closures allow time for students to seek medical attention and to get some extra rest if they need it. And as you can see, a deep clean is underway on every single school in the district.
These custodians have a long to-do list.
Everything in sight that kids touch.
Sally Adams and Lisa Backman need to spray down every desk, chair, keyboard, and doorknob here at Kellogg High School after a flu outbreak spread across the school district. Superintendent William Woodford says the virus is aggressive.
Take it seriously. I guess that would be the comment, because this is a particularly tough virus.
Crews are cleaning and sanitizing every classroom here and at the other 3 schools, as well as the buses, to prevent the flu from spreading more. Woodford says about 300 students, which make up about 28% of students in the district, were out sick, along with more than 20% of teachers, when school leaders decided to cancel classes and activities for the rest of the week. The superintendent is encouraging parents to continue to monitor their kids' health.
I would strongly suggest that parents continue to monitor their children's health, that their kids get plenty of rest, and that they drink plenty of fluids.
School leaders will continue to watch the outbreak and respond as needed.
This year's flu season has been dominated by a particularly nasty bug, and health officials say it's now reached almost every corner of the country. In a news conference this morning, the CDC says flu season appears to be peaking right now. Danielle Nottingham has more.
Plenty of people are getting sick with the flu right now. The CDC says the flu is now widespread in every state in the U.S. except Hawaii.
The season started early back in November and has had a really rapid rise and is probably peaking right about now.
The latest data from the CDC show the U.S. could be in for a severe season. The H3N2 virus is dominating this season, which tends to cause more severe illness, hospitalizations, and deaths, especially in children and older adults. So far, 20 children have died. These parents in Ohio are mourning the loss of their adopted 4-year-old son who died last week. Jonah Reben had underlying medical conditions.
It's a difficult thing, but the joy, the absolute joy that Jonah brought into our lives and that all of our children bring into our lives make any sorrow that comes along with it worth it.
The CDC is urging anyone who has not been vaccinated for the flu to get the shot now, even though the season may be peaking.
There could be upwards of 13 more weeks of influenza still to come. The predominant strain right now is H3. However, H1N1 seems to be making an entry right now and may be causing disease later in the season. And then influenza B notoriously shows up late and can affect both older and younger individuals.
Because if there's one thing we know about the flu, it's unpredictable. Danielle Nottingham at CBS News, Los Angeles.
The CDC says vaccine effectiveness could be in the 30% range this year. State leaders have announced a new effort to reduce child abuse, neglect, and deaths in Montana. The Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services has launched the First Years Initiative. This program will provide new resources for families during a critical period, from before a child is born to the first few years of life. The initiative will include 3 separate projects. The first will be the addition of 5 home visitors to work specifically with families involved with child and family services. Leaders say they base the projects on recent studies into childhood death.
What's truly promising about this First Year Initiative is that research showed that home visiting has the most promise in reducing child fatalities and abuse and neglect. And, you know, that's something to be incredibly hopeful about with this First Year Initiative, so we're excited.
As part of the First Year Initiative, DPHHS will work together with a newly formed state commission that will review child abuse and neglect cases.
Salute the Badge is brought to you by Montana Railing, supporting the Main Street of Montana for 30 years.
Missoula City Police Officer J.C. Denton sees a lot of darkness in his line of work, but when he's not on shift, you can find him chasing the light. MTN's Augusta McDonald explains in this week's Salute the Badge.
It started out as a dream to explore an underwater world.
I'm a dive master, so I started doing underwater photography and videography. I really enjoyed it, bought all the equipment for it, and then decided, hey, let's try shooting out of the water.
It became both a passion and a business.
It's nice creating something beautiful and so different than the job I'm in right now, and actually having people thank you. Unfortunately, we see people at their worst at being a police officer, so I try to do the opposite with my photography stuff, is capture people's best, and each person has something beautiful about them.
Denton began to give back to the community by donating his time and talent to charities.
Like the Montana Hope Project, I've worked with Special Olympics, Chicks for Chaps. Montana Hope Project is an amazing organization, and this is going on my 3rd year working with them. I've actually got to know the families and the kids, and there's just nothing more rewarding than like working with these kids, getting to know them, seeing the smiles, and it's awesome.
Augusta McDonald, MTN News, Missoula.
Denton is the Street Crimes and K-9 Unit Sergeant at the Police Department and has been there for almost 16 years.
Coming up, Erin has the latest on what to expect for the weekend forecast.
And why does Montana have the highest electric rates in the West? We'll take a closer look at that coming up here on KPAX.